Basically, what I want to do, I have 10 minutes. Because we are running late, I'll make it 5, which is very easy for me because everyone who knows me can confirm that, we have very short meetings and we can basically say a lot of things in a few words or a few pictures. I've chosen pictures, and my role is basically do some sort of a wrap-up for you what we've seen today. And because we always love to look to the future, and I'm not by origin IT guy, but I sort of count myself between them because I spent a lot of my past years working in the IT. So I'll give you a little bit of the future of the learning from the IT perspective, because what you heard today is what we know now. So maybe there is a better future. Maybe we will not have to learn in the future at all. Wouldn't that be better? So what we've seen today, one piece of technology which is not really doing what I wanted. No, so let's go by hand. We've seen the academic view. There were trends in the e-learning on the university fields, very interesting trends, I would say. When I studied, which is relatively long time ago, as you might guess looking at me, we had few computers, and we were actually very glad that we had access to the emails. When I heard today that the universities are having HD video conferencing tools, which is something every small company would actually envy you, I was impressed. And I think, well, let's see, maybe the future I want to introduce you in 2 or 3 minutes is actually not that far away. Then we've heard about the e-learning from a little bit of the theoretical point of view. And we heard a lot of interesting things, I would say, from the real life. So you saw Roland talking about the company with impressive number of geographical locations, which distributes content about very interesting devices. And now you may actually laugh because for most of you, I assume these devices are boxes. For me too, don't worry. I mean, nothing which doesn't have a keyboard is not really something I can work with. So that was very impressive presentation and great use of our tools. But from the perspective of really technical idea. Then you heard Mr. Nestorov, which was actually one of the presentations which I received like the last one. So I was not really sure what's going to come. And I was impressed because usually the people with the most experience are able to pass along the complicated ideas in a very simple way. And I think that's what we saw. In principle, doesn't matter how good tools we give you, if you don't have idea how to use them, they will be useless to you, and whatever result you will produce will not be as good as it might be if you use the right approach. And of course, we heard Mr. Ognianovsky, our dear customer from LM, talking a little bit about how we are approaching the LM case, again with the geographical issues, number of users issues, and with the, let's say, different skill sets, I think is the correct word, of the users, because as you may imagine, in every company there are big differences between the abilities of people to capture the new things. And obviously any one of you, is anybody here working for the company which is using SAP now? Okay, at least 3 people in this room, not counting my colleagues, can confirm that grasping the idea of SAP and working with it is not the easiest thing. It's not a thing which you see the first day and you are happy with it. Right. Unfortunately, yes, yes. But as with everything, we give you the tools, you can start simple, and you can get to some more complicated stuff, as we basically saw in all the examples. I mean, there is for sure room for improvement in every of the real-life cases we heard. And we believe, at least I myself believe, that it's much better for you if you really start simple and get the things right, then, that you get amazing tools in the company, you buy amazing software, but you don't have the right methodology and approach how to use it, and you will just get overwhelmed with very nice animations, which will not produce any result for you, which you don't want that. So we've talked about the tools. I think Alexander did an amazing summary, so I will basically just guide you through the things which I believe are the interesting ones for me, and this is basically stuff which links to what I want to say at the end. So apart from the real authoring tools, you've seen how you can quickly access whatever you have as a knowledge base in your company with the quick access. You've seen the new stuff, which is called TT Guide, and don't be surprised. I'm sure you are also a little bit amazed with number of T's which we use in the product names. I was also, but don't worry. The guide means really you get the knowledge when you need it, and it guides you through. And for me, this is the most interesting product for anybody who has a large number of users in the larger company, which is geographically distributed, because you can pass the knowledge to the users whenever they have a problem in a small pieces, which I think is actually the future of learning. And of course, you saw the trendy stuff. Who has iPad here or anything similar? Ha! Okay, that's depending, I guess, on the country and the place. There is a lot of hands always coming up for the iPads, and surprisingly, the more you go east, now meaning, for example, from United States, the more hands comes up if you say iPad and something else, because we are not that much Apple oriented, but I am myself a big fan of Apple. And of course, I think one of the most interesting and maybe life-changing experiences for you today might be the lovely lady with the keys to success. Was there actually anybody who got through that? I don't remember. Was there anybody who got through it? No? I was halfway prepared for this because I saw the video, people trying to climb on each other. So I knew this is not the way. So we were waiting, but we were in the right mental state, I would say, because I knew it's possible. She told me, it was not my idea. Sorry for that. But we didn't crack it, right? So maybe next time. So I picked a few things which will lead me to the fact which I would actually laugh as a child. If somebody would come when I was young and said, you don't have to learn, I would be like, yes, let's play. So I think we may not be that far away from that, because let's not count the nice pictures from Singularity. A little bit of statistics to start with, so I can prove my point. You know that the size of anything like a chip, transistors and stuff is basically gradually going down. 4 years. I mean, we all know that. It's a little bit speeding up process, and we are now very close to the point that we will be able to have whatever size of the device with the chip we want. Me saying whatever size is not completely correct. We will get to the size which is, for example, 1 blood cell. So basically anything in your body, the single smallest part, we will be able to produce device of that size. We all also hear that the exponential growth of the computing power led some people to believe that we may be close to the time where computing power has actually bigger amount of capacity than all the brains on Earth. Now, the problem with this assumption, of course, is, first of all, you can connect computing power. It's difficult to connect brains, at least on the conscious level. So it's difficult to say that, if I'm smart, she is smart, and all 100 people in this room, we are all smart. Let's connect and let's calculate how long it will take us to get from here to Earth, next Earth, in the next universe, that we will be able to do it. But it's very easy to say that we have 5 computers and we can connect with another 5, and they will be probably able to do it in 20 minutes. So the computing power is here for sure. The size of the devices are small and will be smaller within like 10, 15 years. And this is the idea how maybe your brain may look like in the future. Because as you all know, thinking and learning is basically just creating connections in your brain. Now imagine that one of the ways how you may not need to learn may be that you have a smart devices in your brain which actually connect to whatever network is available and get you the knowledge you need and create the connections automatically without you and without the need to learn it. Because the knowledge is here, we know that. The only problem is we don't have it here. So you have to go to Google, you have to search, you have to try Wikipedia, and ideally at the end you find out that the knowledge is available in the different language than you understand, so you go through the lousy translation, and at the end you find out it's better to ask somebody. Because still this is the most proven way how to get there. Of course, with the devices doesn't come also the knowledge, but there comes a little bit of the security that may be your body, which is probably one of the weakest points of our existence, can be protected by the small devices. This is the idea of the health robot fighting the virus. Let's say it might be the influenza or something like very simple, which we basically experience every year. On and on and on. Nothing helps. Wouldn't that be nice? And maybe that would not be necessary, because with all the computing power which we have, and with all the capabilities which are given to us by the computing power, we are actually able nowadays to decompose anybody's DNA in the matter of hours or days. Once we are able to do it, there is a very small step to the fact that anybody can do a little adjustment within your DNA to free you from any disease which you are getting from your ancestors, maybe. Or, of course, there might be additional implications. You don't want to be dark hair, you want to be blonde guy. Or she doesn't want to be blonde, but she wants to be short little girl. Everything is possible, right? So maybe the future of learning is actually this. You take your brain, upload it to a virtual reality, and you connect with everybody, which is something which we are not able to do consciously now. But in the network of the future, it should be possible, right? I mean, we've seen that computing power is enormous. We've seen that the chips are small. There is no reason why you could not be able to enhance yourself and your memory and your skills with a small chip in the next 20, 30 years. There are people, and you probably heard the name, Ray Kurzweil wrote a book called Singularity, where he believes that because all the events are actually accelerating, inventions, improvements, and everything, in his projections, we will not be able, as humans with the capabilities which we have now, we will not be able to keep pace with the technological changes within 20, 30 years. Because they will get into such a rapid state that basically before you learn something, it doesn't matter that we provide you great tools and e-learnings, before you learn something, it will be obsolete. And the only way how to keep up with that would be you enhance yourself with the technological advances. But, of course, there is a flip side to every coin, right? Because maybe somebody comes and unplugs your computer. And that might be actually the end of the story, right? So I just want to leave you with the idea that maybe whatever we think about learning today is not exactly what it will look like, and maybe your children can actually prove it. But sooner or later, you know, I think we all need to eat so far and drink. So I would like to invite you for the drinks and a little bit of snacks. I want to thank you very much for being with us the whole day. And, you know, until we can free ourselves from the bodies we have, it was very nice to meet you and hope to see you probably next year if you will feel that this was well spent afternoon. Also, I want to say that you can still try the software, you can see the examples and the Macedonian version of the localization on the computers with the girls at the back.